All right, continuing chapter 9, and we're going to take a look now at the steps that you follow to qualify somebody for advertising. Taking a prospect and making sure that they're a good prospect to become an advertising client. Step 1, prioritize accounts according to potential investment, fit, and credit worthiness. So you want to make sure that they are actually going to benefit from advertising and that they can pay the bills. You want to determine which accounts have a logical fit with your medium's audience based on the account's business and financial model, based on their target consumer. What is their audience? Does it match up with the audience that you have? And the creative approach that the business has, how well that fits based on the content of your particular media outlet. You always want to assess which accounts have the largest potential to invest in advertising, taking stock in all the things that we just talked about. You don't want to waste your time dealing with somebody that doesn't fit the criteria, or as you get to talking to them that you can sense that it's going to be a real hard road to try to convince them that that the investment of advertising with you is worth it. You don't want to continually try to beat on somebody, putting all your efforts into what probably won't be a good opportunity and leaving other opportunities behind. Assess which accounts have good credit ratings and pay their bills on time. Most media outlets will run some sort of credit report on a business to determine if they're those that pay their bills and they pay in full. In the textbook, there's a list of qualifying questions that you may find as helpful in trying to assess that someone is qualified to do advertising. Step 2, discover who the target account's advertising decision maker is. And most of the time, it's going to depend on the size of the business. In small businesses, generally, you're going to deal with the business owner. They make the decisions for the business, including how to spend the business's money. If you're dealing with a medium or a larger business, it could be someone that has one of several different types of titles. It could be a manager, it could be a CEO, it could be a CFO, it could actually be someone that deals with media and public relations within the company. You want to try to find out who that is and deal with that person directly. Step 3, select specific target accounts with the most potential. So as you're doing this step, try ranking the list of target accounts that you have by investment potential first, and then by seasonality. So you could have someone that is a great fit, but say they're selling snow shovels and you're in late spring. You're probably going to wait a few months before you deal with that particular client. You want to try to find out what the ebb and flow of the business is. One good way to do that is to use a tool called Google Alerts. You can set up searches for anything and everything, and you could even have it sent in a digest form to your email once a day or once a week, or if you're savvy with RSS readers, you can have that material come up through your RSS feed. It's a great way to be alerted when anything new on the web or comes up in a news release about a particular business or a particular industry, if you will. Then fourthly, create a calendar based on that seasonality. Give yourself enough lead time to contact each target account. Again, you want to try to do this 3 to 4 months before an account's peak season. So as we head into spring, you're trying to reach out to wedding planners and wedding venues. maybe vacation destinations, travel agents, families going on summer vacation. Once you get into late spring, you may talk to retailers about back to school sales that they may have going on. And a lot of times in the fall, car dealerships are trying to clear out their inventory to bring in the new year model. So late spring's a good opportunity to start talking to automotive dealerships. So learn how the ebb and flow of certain businesses and certain industries have their yearly cycle of sales and emphases that they do, and start plotting those things out on a calendar and plan ahead as you're trying to reach out to prospects. Step 5, develop a tailored sales narrative. Develop the wording for an initial approach that is tailored or customized for each target account. And that will highlight who you are, what you're selling, how you've helped get results for similar businesses, and why you want a meeting with that prospect. So it's kind of your introductory statement about yourself and your company, not necessarily in a formalized way per se, but it is something that is thought out, and you probably have in some form of a script that you want to make sure that you get all the content in that you need to tell somebody. The wording of that initial approach, again, it's not going to be a complete sales story, but it's a structured introductory narrative that should be designed to get a prospect's attention and then arouse their interest. When we talk about introducing content to somebody for the first time, many times we talk about it in terms of creating an interrupt. Creating the interrupt is piquing somebody's interest and curiosity to the point that they say, that's interesting. Tell me more. And they'll give you a few more seconds of your time. So when you create this sales narrative, make sure that it is factual, but also make sure that it piques somebody's interest as you share that information with them. Step 6, contact target accounts. There's 4 ways to make an initial contact, which is what we call a cold call. You're reaching out to them without some sort of interaction that they do with you first. When you do that, there's different ways that you can reach out. You can do it in person, you can do it on the telephone, you can do it via email, and you can do it via social media. And we're going to talk about some of the things and some of the tactics that you can use in each of those scenarios. Getting through to the decision maker. These are some tips that have been developed by top salesperson at Beasley Media Group, Bob McCurdy. And this is what he suggests. First, dig deeply and utilize all existing current contacts. Find out everything you can about the individual that you want to meet. So, do some snooping. Do some creeping. Don't be creepy as you do it, but try to learn as much as you possibly can. Check out all of the social sites. Try to find if they have a Facebook profile or a LinkedIn profile, if they have other presence on the web. Create an appointment prep profile where you put in all the information that you have found out about a prospective client, and then compile all of this data into one place for easy review. Have a file folder or have a folder in your computer that has all the information about a particular client. That way you have one-stop shopping to go and reference that material when you need it. Again, some stalking is okay. Go to where the economic buyer goes for what appears to them to be a random encounter. Be prepared to throw out some fact or insight so that you're remembered. It should sound off the cuff, but should be far from being off the cuff. Be very intentional with the things that you talk about. Experiment with different approaches. In the words of Bob Dylan, when you got nothing to lose. So you want to try to get on this person's radar. So, take a risk. Don't be outlandish. Be respectful, but, you know, you never know what might work. Give it a shot. And then try working the family angle. Talk about your spouse, your kids, the grandkids. Try to learn about theirs. Do things that, you know, provide opportunities for them to be able to look good to their family. If you got free tickets to an event from another sponsor or something like that, many times that's a good enticer to try to win a prospect over. You know, providing, if you want to call them bribes, if you want to call them incentives, or just appealing to them in a personal way. Sometimes that is incentive enough. So this is a good place to take another break. Part C. We'll hop over there next.